In a distant future, the galaxy was ruled by a group of powerful alien empires known as the Dominion. For centuries, they had spread fear and destruction, conquering planet after planet. They believed they were unbeatable, their warships too strong, their technology too advanced. Many civilizations had tried to resist them, but were crushed without mercy. No one dared stand against them. They were the ultimate rulers of the stars. Far away, hidden in a quiet corner of the galaxy, was Earth. Humanity had remained unnoticed by the Dominion, mostly because they seemed weak and primitive. The aliens believed humans were too far behind in technology and wouldn't be a threat. So they left Earth alone. But what the Dominion didn't know was that humanity was preparing. In secret, Earth had been developing incredible technologies, far beyond what the rest of the galaxy could imagine. While other species focused on brute force, humans focused on innovation. They created powerful AI systems, advanced spaceships, and devastating weapons, all in secret. Humanity was not interested in war, but they knew that one day the fight would come to them. That day arrived sooner than expected. One day, a Dominion scout ship stumbled upon Earth. The aliens were surprised to find a species living on such a planet, one they had never heard of. The Dominion leaders quickly gathered and discussed their next move. They decided that Earth was no different from the hundreds of other planets they had conquered before. Destroying it would be easy, and they didn't even bother sending their full fleet. Just a small group of their most powerful warships would be enough to wipe out the humans. As the Dominion fleet approached Earth, they broadcasted a message. It was short and simple: surrender or be destroyed. They expected immediate compliance. After all, no species had ever resisted their power before. But humanity didn't answer. They remained silent. The Dominion commanders took this as a sign of fear, of weakness. They assumed the humans were too terrified to respond, but Earth wasn't scared. Humanity was ready. The moment the first Dominion ship entered Earth's orbit, something extraordinary happened. Earth's defense systems activated in an instant. Massive energy shields surrounded the planet, blocking the alien ships from firing their weapons. At the same time, hundreds of human spacecraft launched from hidden bases on the surface. These ships moved faster than any the Dominion had ever seen, darting through space with agility and precision. The alien fleet was taken by surprise. They had expected a simple invasion, an easy victory. But within minutes, they realized they were facing something entirely different. Human ships began attacking, firing energy beams that tore through the Dominion's armor. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons seemed useless against Earth's defenses. They had never encountered technology like this before. Panic spread through the Dominion ranks. How could a species they had considered weak be this powerful? Their commanders ordered a retreat, but it was already too late. The humans had anticipated every move. The AI systems controlling Earth's defenses calculated every possible outcome, predicting the Dominion's strategies before they even made them. In less than an hour, half of the Dominion fleet had been destroyed. The Dominion's flagship, the most powerful ship in their fleet, tried to make a final stand. It unleashed its most destructive weapon, a massive energy cannon capable of obliterating entire cities. But before it could fire, a group of human ships surrounded it, disabling its systems in seconds. The ship's crew watched helplessly as their mighty vessel was torn apart by precise, focused attacks. Within 5 hours, the battle was over. Not a single Dominion ship remained in Earth's orbit. The humans had won a victory so swift and complete that it shocked the entire galaxy. News of the battle spread quickly. Species who had once feared the Dominion now looked to humanity with awe and hope. If Earth could defeat the most powerful empire in the galaxy in just a few hours, maybe the Dominion wasn't as unstoppable as everyone thought.
The Dominion, once arrogant and certain of their superiority, now faced a terrifying reality. They had underestimated humanity, and it had cost them dearly. Their leaders were forced to retreat, licking their wounds and trying to figure out what had gone wrong. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion was afraid. Humanity, on the other hand, didn't celebrate their victory with parades or speeches. They knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was still dangerous, and the Dominion would surely try to strike back. But Earth was ready. They had proven that they weren't just another primitive species waiting to be conquered. They were a silent superpower, one that had risen from the shadows to defend their home. In the weeks that followed, humans reached out to other planets that had suffered under the Dominion's rule. They didn't seek to conquer or control, but to form alliances. Together, they would stand against any threat the galaxy could throw at them. And while the Dominion might still be a powerful force, they would never again take humanity lightly. From that day forward, humanity's name was spoken with both respect and fear across the galaxy. They were no longer the quiet, unknown species from a distant planet. They were the defenders of freedom, the champions of innovation, and the ones who had defeated the undefeatable all in just 5 hours. The galaxy had been at war for decades. Different alien factions fought for control, battling across countless planets and star systems. The battles were brutal, and the war seemed never-ending. These alien empires had advanced technology, massive armies, and powerful warships. Each one wanted to rule the galaxy, and they didn't care who stood in their way. In the midst of all this chaos, Earth and its colonies remained neutral. Humanity had kept its distance, choosing to stay out of the galactic conflict. Humans were still relatively new to space exploration compared to the older, more powerful alien species. Many thought it was wise for humanity to stay out of the fight after all. What could they do against such powerful forces? But all that changed one fateful day. A large human colony, located on the edge of space, was suddenly attacked by a powerful alien faction called the Dravak Empire. The Dravaks were ruthless conquerors, known for their brutality and greed. They didn't care about humanity's neutrality or their wish to avoid the war. To the Dravak, the humans were weak and ripe for the taking. They thought no one would care if they invaded a human colony and took it for themselves. The attack was swift and brutal. The Dravak warships appeared out of nowhere, surrounding the human colony and opening fire. Thousands of lives were lost in the first few minutes of the assault. Buildings crumbled, ships were destroyed, and chaos filled the air. The Dravak fleet thought they would have an easy victory, and that humanity would simply surrender. But Earth had other plans. When news of the attack reached Earth, humanity was furious. For years, they had stayed out of the galactic war, hoping to avoid unnecessary conflict. But now, one of their colonies had been attacked without warning. Earth's leaders knew they had to act, and they had to act fast. They couldn't allow the Dravak or any other alien empire to think that humanity was weak or easy to conquer. In secret, humanity had been preparing for this day. While the galaxy had been focused on war, Earth had been developing new weapons and technology in the shadows. They had built faster ships, more advanced weapons, and better defenses. They had a plan that would strike fear into any alien empire that dared to attack them. They called it Operation Blitz. Operation Blitz was designed for one purpose: to win a war quickly and decisively. Humanity knew they couldn't match the alien empires in size or numbers, but they had something else: speed, strategy, and surprise. Instead of fighting long, drawn-out battles, they would hit the enemy fast and hard, leaving no time for a counterattack. Within hours of the Dravak attack, Earth's fleet was mobilized. They sent a message to the Dravak Empire, demanding an immediate retreat and the safe return of the captured human colony. The Dravak, confident in their strength, laughed at the demand. They believed humans were no match for their superior forces, but they were about to be proven wrong. The human fleet arrived near the colony, and the Dravak ships moved to intercept them. The alien commanders were smug, thinking they would destroy the human fleet as easily as they had attacked the colony. But as the battle began, something strange happened. The human ships moved faster than the Dravak had expected, much faster. They darted through space like lightning, dodging enemy fire and striking back with precision. The Dravak warships, despite their advanced technology, couldn't keep up. Their systems were too slow, their weapons too outdated to handle the human fleet's speed. In the blink of an eye, human ships were inside the Dravak's defenses, targeting their engines and weapons with pinpoint accuracy. As the Dravak tried to regroup, they realized something else. Humanity had weapons they had never seen before. The human ships were equipped with new energy cannons that could pierce through the strongest Dravak shields like they weren't even there. Within minutes, several of the Dravak's largest ships were disabled, floating helplessly in space. Panic began to spread among the Dravik commanders. They had never faced anything like this before. How could these humans, who they thought were weak and unimportant, be beating them so easily? The Dravik tried to call for reinforcements, but it was too late. Operation Blitz was already in full motion. ASE, the human fleet continued its attack. A second wave of ships appeared, faster and more powerful than the first. These ships carried specialized strike teams, elite human soldiers trained to board enemy ships and take them down from the inside. In a matter of minutes, these teams infiltrated the remaining Dravik warships, disabling their systems and capturing their commanders. The battle, which the Dravik thought would be an easy victory, turned into a nightmare. In less than 5 hours, the Dravik fleet was in ruins. Most of their warships had been destroyed or captured, and their commanders were either dead or in human custody. The human colony, which had been on the verge of destruction, was safe once again. The Dravik Empire, once so sure of its superiority, was left humiliated. Their mighty fleet had been defeated in a matter of hours by a species they had considered weak and insignificant. They had underestimated humanity, and it had cost them dearly. Back on Earth, the victory was met with celebration, but also with determination. Humanity had proven that they could not only defend themselves, but also strike fear into the hearts of those who dared to attack them. Operation Blitz had been a success, but it was just the beginning. The galaxy now knew that humanity was not to be trifled with. Earth's leaders sent a clear message to the galaxy: if you come for us, be ready to face the Blitz. The Dravik Empire, still reeling from their defeat, quickly realized they had no choice but to retreat. They withdrew their remaining forces from human space, leaving humanity to rebuild and strengthen its defenses. Other alien empires watched from a distance, shocked by how quickly humanity had turned the tide of battle. From that day on, the galaxy looked at Earth with a new sense of respect and fear. The humans, who had once been considered too weak to be a threat, had proven that they could win a war in just a few hours. Their speed, strategy, and advanced technology made them a force to be reckoned with. And while the rest of the galaxy continued their endless wars, humanity remained ready. They knew that one day, another enemy would come for them. But now, the galaxy knew one thing for sure: when humanity decides to fight, they fight fast and they always win. The galaxy was under the iron rule of the Arcthalon Empire, an alien species that had conquered countless planets and enslaved numerous races. They had ruled for centuries, crushing any sign of rebellion and ensuring that no species could rise against them. Their technology was advanced, their military unmatched, and their control over the galaxy seemed unbreakable. Among the many races under the Arcthalon's control were humans. Earth had been discovered by the Arcthalon decades ago, and like many others, humanity had been forced to submit to their rule. The human race was treated like second-class citizens, forced to work for the Empire and live under constant surveillance. The Arcthalon considered humans weak, just another species to be exploited. But while humanity outwardly obeyed, secretly, they were planning. For years, humans had been quietly gathering allies, speaking to other oppressed species in secret. They weren't the only ones suffering under the Arcthalon's rule. Many alien races had grown tired of the Empire's tyranny, but they feared standing up alone. They didn't have the numbers, the technology, or the strength to fight back by themselves. But if they could unite, they might stand a chance. The humans became the voice of hope. They traveled from planet to planet, meeting with alien leaders in the shadows, convincing them that together they could defeat the Arcthalon. Some were skeptical. How could humans, who were seen as one of the weaker species, lead a rebellion? But the humans had something the others didn't. A plan. Earth's scientists had secretly been working on new technology, weapons, and ships that could match the power of the Arcthalon. While the Empire believed they had complete control, they had underestimated the human spirit of innovation. Humans had built ships that could fly faster, weapons that could cut through Arcthalon shields, and devices that could disable their powerful warships. And now, the time had come to strike. The rebellion, known as the United Front, was ready to make their move. The plan was simple but daring: launch a coordinated attack on key Arcthalon strongholds across the galaxy. The goal wasn't to defeat the Empire in one blow; that would be impossible. But if they could hit the Empire hard, cripple their military, and free some of the enslaved planets, they could spark a galaxy-wide revolution. The first target was a heavily guarded Arcthalon base on a planet called Varos, known for its valuable resources. It was also the site of a major Arcthalon shipyard, where they built many of their warships. Taking Varos would send a message to the Empire that the rebellion had begun. The human fleet, along with their allies, moved quickly and silently. They had trained for months, practicing their maneuvers and perfecting their strategies. The Arcthalon had no idea what was coming. ASA, the rebel fleet approached Varos. The Arcthalon defenses activated. Massive warships surrounded the planet, and defense cannons were ready to fire. But the humans had prepared for this. Their new ships moved at incredible speeds, dodging enemy fire with ease. The human ships were equipped with cloaking technology that made them nearly invisible to the Arcthalon's scanners. By the time the Empire realized they were under attack, the humans were already in position. The battle began with a series of rapid strikes. Human ships targeted the Empire's defense cannons, disabling them before they could fire. Allied fighters, piloted by species from across the galaxy, swarmed the Arcthalon warships, using their superior speed to outmaneuver the bulky Arcthalon vessels. On the ground, human soldiers and their alien allies stormed the Arcthalon base, catching the guards by surprise. The Empire's forces were used to fighting disorganized rebellions, small, scattered groups that posed no real threat. But this was different. This was coordinated, precise, and deadly. The Arcthalon soldiers tried to fight back, but they were overwhelmed. The United Front soldiers were well-trained and highly motivated. They had been preparing for this moment for years, and they fought with the passion of those who had been oppressed for too long. Within hours, the battle for Varos was over. The Arcthalon forces had been defeated, their warships destroyed, and their base captured. The rebels had won their first major victory, and the news spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The Arcthalon Empire was shocked. For centuries, they had ruled with absolute power, believing that no one could challenge them. But now, they faced a new enemy, an enemy that wasn't just one species, but many united in their desire for freedom. The United Front had shown the galaxy that the Arcthalon were not invincible. As more planets heard of the victory on Varos, they began to rise up. The Arcthalon's control started to crumble as rebellions erupted across the galaxy. Human ships, along with their allies, traveled from system to system, helping free one planet after another. The rebellion grew stronger with every victory, gaining more recruits and more support. But the Arcthalon weren't defeated yet. They still had a massive military, and their leader, Emperor Zalith, was not one to back down easily. He ordered his generals to crush the rebellion, no matter the cost. He sent his most powerful fleets to hunt down the rebels and destroy their bases. The United Front faced many challenges as the war dragged on. They lost ships, soldiers, and entire planets in fierce battles. But they never gave up. Humanity had sparked something greater than anyone had expected, a movement that could no longer be stopped. In the final days of the war, the United Front launched their most daring attack yet, an assault on the Arcthalon's homeworld, Zalathar. This was the heart of the Empire, heavily guarded and thought to be impenetrable. But the United Front had one last secret weapon, a massive human-built ship known as the Hopebringer, equipped with advanced shields and powerful weapons. The battle for Zalathar was brutal, with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. But in the end, the United Front emerged victorious. Emperor Zalath was captured, and the Arcthalon Empire fell, their grip on the galaxy shattered. The victory wasn't just a triumph for humans, it was a triumph for every species that had suffered under the Arcthalon's rule. The galaxy was free, and the United Front had proven that together, they were stronger than the mightiest empire. As peace returned to the galaxy, humanity became a symbol of hope and unity. They had led the rebellion not for conquest, but for freedom. And in doing so, they had earned the respect of every species in the galaxy. The Arcthalon Empire had fallen, but the lesson it left behind was clear: when the oppressed rise together, even the most powerful empires can fall. For centuries, humanity had existed on the fringes of galactic society, overlooked and ignored by the more advanced alien species. The other races saw humans as a minor civilization, too insignificant to matter in the grand scheme of the galaxy. They were not seen as a threat, and no one paid much attention to Earth's slow progress in technology and space exploration. But everything changed the day humanity unlocked the secret of the reality shift. It started as an accident, a discovery made by a group of human scientists on a remote space station. They had been experimenting with quantum energy, trying to find new ways to power Earth's ships and improve their technology. During one of their tests, something unexpected happened. A rift appeared in space, a tear in reality itself. It was as if the fabric of the universe had been pulled apart, revealing a new dimension of possibilities. At first, the scientists were terrified. They had no idea what they had stumbled upon. The rift seemed unstable, dangerous even. But as they studied it, they realized something incredible. This wasn't just a tear in space, it was a gateway to a different reality, one where the laws of physics could be bent and rewritten. They had discovered a way to shift reality itself. The implications were staggering. With the reality shift, humanity could manipulate the world around them in ways that no other species could. They could create new technologies, build impossible weapons, and even alter the course of time and space. The power of the reality shift was limitless, but it was also dangerous. If used recklessly, it could tear the universe apart. The leaders of Earth knew they had to be careful. The discovery of the reality shift had the potential to change the balance of power in the galaxy, and if other species found out about it, they would stop at nothing to seize control of it. Humanity was not ready for an all-out war, especially against the larger, more advanced empires that ruled the stars. But secrecy was difficult to maintain. The first sign of trouble came when a mysterious alien ship appeared near the space station where the reality shift had been discovered. It was a reconnaissance vessel from the Exalathar Dominion, one of the most powerful and aggressive empires in the galaxy. The Exalathar were known for their relentless pursuit of new technologies, and they had somehow learned of humanity's discovery. The human scientists tried to keep the Exalathar ship at bay, but it was too late. The Exalathar had scanned the station and discovered the rift. They immediately sent a message to their homeworld, and within days, a Exalathar fleet was on its way to claim the reality shift for themselves. Earth's leaders were faced with an impossible decision. They could either surrender the reality shift to the Exalathar and hope for mercy, or they could fight back, risking everything in a war they were not prepared for. But surrender was not an option. Humanity had worked too hard, struggled for too long, to be pushed aside by an empire that saw them as nothing more than a nuisance. The decision was made. Earth would fight. But they couldn't rely on brute force alone. The Exalathar had a fleet 10 times the size of humanity's, with ships that were more advanced and soldiers that were more experienced. In a traditional battle, humanity wouldn't stand a chance. But they didn't need to fight a traditional battle, they had the reality shift. The scientists worked around the clock, developing new technologies that used the power of the shift. They created ships that could phase in and out of reality, making them impossible to target. They built weapons that could bend time, allowing them to strike before the enemy even saw them coming. They even found a way to use the shift to predict the future, giving humanity the ability to anticipate the Exalathar's every move. When the Exalathar fleet finally arrived, they were confident in their victory. They expected an easy conquest, a quick battle that would add humanity's new technology to their growing empire. But as soon as the battle began, they realized something was wrong. Human ships appeared out of nowhere, vanishing and reappearing as if they were ghosts. Exalathar weapons fired into empty space, unable to lock onto their targets. And whenever they managed to get a shot off, it seemed as if the human ships had already moved, dodging attacks before they were even fired. Panic spread through the Exalathar fleet. Their commanders couldn't understand what was happening. How could a species they had considered inferior be doing this? How could they be outmaneuvered, outgunned, and outsmarted by a race that shouldn't have stood a chance? The humans were using the reality shift to rewrite the rules of war. As the battle raged on, the Exalathar began to fall apart. Their ships were destroyed one by one, their soldiers lost in confusion and fear. They had never faced an enemy like this before, an enemy that could bend reality itself. Within hours, the once mighty Exalathar fleet was in ruins, scattered across the battlefield like debris. Humanity had won, but the cost was high. The use of the reality shift had drained a massive amount of energy from the rift, and it had become increasingly unstable. The scientists warned that if they continued to use the shift in such a way, it could collapse, causing a catastrophic event that could destroy the entire galaxy. Earth's leaders faced a difficult choice. The reality shift had given them the power to defeat one of the galaxy's greatest empires, but it was also a ticking time bomb. If they continued to rely on it, they could bring about their own destruction. But if they gave it up, they would lose their only advantage in a galaxy filled with hostile forces. In the end, they made a bold decision. Humanity would no longer use the reality shift as a weapon. Instead, they would focus on stabilizing the rift, using it for peaceful purposes. They would share their discovery with other species, forming alliances and building a coalition of races that could stand together against any future threat. The Exalathar, humiliated and broken, were forced to retreat. The rest of the galaxy watched in awe as humanity, once considered weak and insignificant, had risen to become one of the most powerful and respected civilizations in the stars. They had mastered a power that no other species had ever dreamed of, and they had used it not to conquer, but to protect. The reality shift had changed everything, but humanity had learned an important lesson. With great power comes great responsibility. The universe was fragile, and in their hands, they held the key to its survival or its destruction. And so, Earth stood tall, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a new reality, ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy might bring. Together, they had shifted the course of history forever.